number 414-852-4414. 414-852-4414. You can text me your thoughts, or a little bit later we can talk about it. We're joined in studio for candidate for Milwaukee County Treasurer, Mr. Ted Chisholm. I'm gonna start this, because this really is, Ted, and I know you can appreciate. This is a welcoming environment for geeks and nerds.
That's great.
So let me do this. Name the three chipmunks.
That's a good question, because I know we've got Alvin. I know that, and I don't think I could name either of the others. So
you should be able to name one of the others.
I concede defeat on that. Yeah.
I was thinking about it this morning. Alvin, Simon, and Theodore.
Oh, there we go.
There you go.
Yes, my namesake there. Yeah.
How you doing, man?
Did he handle the money for the group?
Good question. He was the treasurer. Oh man, you do the chipmunk thing, the whole thing, right? I want to handle your money, Theodore. But again, you're running for county treasurer.
I am, yes. Just about 12 days out from the election, and so we'll be on the ballot and looking to really make a difference in this office, which is one that's really kind of fallen off the radar in recent years. But fortunately, we have a chance this year to get it right and restore some hands-on leadership into our county treasurer's office.
What is the function of Milwaukee County's treasurer office?
Absolutely. So there's really three separate functions that the office performs. And so one of them is managing some behind the scenes financial administrative functions for the county, like issuing checks, managing the payment of retirement checks to folks who've retired from county service, handling accounts receivable for the county. But the other two key functions are much more outward and public facing. One of those is managing the investment of the surplus operating funds that the county has in its budget. So essentially, as the year goes on, there's funds that are not needed just yet for day-to-day operating expenditures, and the treasurer invests those funds based on investment advice that's received from the county's contracted investment advisors. And then the third key function is collecting delinquent property taxes from 18 of the 19 municipalities in Milwaukee County. So of course, the city of Milwaukee has its own elected city treasurer, but every other jurisdiction in the county, whether that's Glendale, Brown Deer, Wauwatosa, South Milwaukee, Oak Creek, you name it, in those municipalities, the county treasurer is actually responsible for delinquent tax collection once you get beyond about 7, 8 months out in terms of a tax delinquency.
Who's responsible? Excuse me. Who's responsible for letting contracts out to the financial institutions that we bank with?
Exactly. So that really depends across the board, but generally speaking, it will be the treasurer's office through the county board of supervisors. So when we look at county government, any significant contract has to be approved by the county board. And so the county board ultimately has the authority to approve any kind of contractual agreement, but the treasurer can have a significant role in putting forward proposals for contract services, whether that's the county's main banking contract, that's with US Bank. There've also been additional contracts. So this is more of an investment. So earlier this year, for example, the county's invested in Columbia Savings and Loan, which is a long overdue partnership, but certainly a wonderful institution in the community.
I always found it amazing how people would always talk about people and the government and living off the government tip. But people who do business with government certainly don't look at it that way.
Right.
So when it comes to, you said, do you review, does the treasurer's office review contract agreements around fiscal issues, or is that the comptroller's office?
So generally speaking, no. So outside of services that would be directly managed by the treasurer's office, general contracts for outside services would generally be routed through the individual department that's responsible. So for example, the county has a procurement division through the Department of Administrative Services, and that's generally the entity that works out contract negotiations, vets vendors, prospective vendors, things of that nature, where the treasurer would have a contracting role in addition to managing banking contracts relates to, and this is a slightly different setup for this service, but there's a company called Catalyst that provides property tax collection software that's used by the 18 suburban municipalities that work with the treasurer's office to process delinquent tax payments. And so that process is administered through the treasurer's office. They play kind of a central role in identifying the vendor, but then that vendor then works directly with the municipalities as well. So there have been that's a relatively new development, I think, in the last 10, 15 years, that the county's kind of taken on the coordinating function for that software.
Does the treasurer's office have a reporting responsibility to the county board and I know the comptroller talks about overall,
Yes.
but in terms of cash on hand, things like that, what does that report look like?
Absolutely, yeah. So the treasurer does a yearly report of the county's accounts. And so the treasurer will report back to the county on each of the accounts that Milwaukee County maintains funds within. And in addition, it's called a statement of public accounts, I believe, is the report of public accounts. And then in addition to that, the treasurer reports to the county board on the county's investment yields. So the treasurer essentially indicates what principal was invested, what returns are coming in, and then generally what's submitted to the board is a projection of what the investment yield will be by year's end, essentially.
The function of the office is pretty much prescriptive, right?
Very much, yeah. There's, I believe, 20. I want to say it's 27 statutory requirements of the office, and it's pretty tightly bound to those.
So then if it's pretty much scripted in terms of what you do, the boilerplate, that type of thing, what difference does it make then who is the treasurer? What distinguishes you from the person who's currently at treasurer?
Exactly. Well, I think it's the quality and the mindset of the leadership that's being provided in that office. And anytime that we're investing our taxpayer dollars as Milwaukee County taxpayers in an office of public trust, we deserve to receive hands-on, engaged, effective leadership. And I come to this race with a background of providing that. I served as the chief of staff to former Sheriff Ernell Lucas, served as the senior administrator for management and finance in the clerk of circuit court's office, where I was managing about a $42 million budget, overseeing accounting, purchasing, contract operations. So I come to this race with not just the ability to be a political leader, but the ability to be a hands-on public administrator who understands the fiscal and administrative functions of this office at a fine level of detail. And I think that's critical. The other thing that I will be is much more proactive in working with the folks in our community who are directly impacted by the work of this office. And that really means homeowners who fall behind on property taxes due to financial emergencies, challenges that arise. And in those cases, I believe we need to be doing everything imaginable to try and identify what are the roadblocks to folks being able to get caught up on those outstanding tax payments. How do we work out really personalized payment plans that allow individuals to get caught up without ideally getting hit with these outstanding fees that attach the longer someone remains in delinquency? That can actually equate to about 18% of the original amount per year if someone remains in delinquency. And that obviously makes it harder and harder to climb out of that hole. And so beyond that, the other thing too that we can do is we can be a lot more proactive in taking a look at vacant and abandoned properties that fall within the treasurer's enforcement jurisdiction. Because in those cases, there's no scenario where we should have a property that's sitting out there for 12 years in tax delinquency and the county's not taking foreclosure if it's a vacant property. I mean, that's a scenario where I think members of our community would like to see action, so we don't have a vacant building sitting someplace in our community that could really be an opportunity for positive development and community growth.
Who initiates the foreclosure?
The treasurer through the Office of Corporation Counsel. So what happens is there's a lien placed, and then the county can foreclose on that lien. And so the treasurer submits the information to the Corporation Counsel Office, which is the civil lawyer for Milwaukee County. And then that office would represent the treasurer in circuit court to pursue that proceeding forward.
Right now, this is kind of the It looks like for Milwaukee County, the projected
Mhm.
revenue from sales taxes fallen a little bit short.
Yeah, I think there's some of the deficit projections, I think at the higher end have gone up to 19 million, I think, for the end of this year. Yep.
Is do you think? And again, you just talked as your budget guy. Is that something that is solvable? And if it is, what does that look like?
Well, it's going to be challenging to say the least. And I think that's the consistent message we're hearing from leadership at the county right now. And I've been in this position before as an administrator in county government. I mean, going back to 2019 when I joined the sheriff's office as the chief of staff, what was happening then is that the county had a structural deficit. Back then, that still had roots in the pension scandal of the early 2000s. And so you had the ramifications of that, which weren't really resolved until we had this shared revenue deal. But at that point, each year we were given a levy target by the county executive's office. And what that meant is we had to actually cut our budget down to that levy target. And that gets to be a problem because we're looking at key services in Milwaukee County. I mean, we're dealing with health and human services, we're dealing with transportation, public works, parks, public safety. These aren't things that we can easily cut. And that's where, unfortunately, the treasurer is not the entity with responsibility over the budget. So I can't sit here and promise, I'm going to solve this problem single-handedly because the treasurer just doesn't have that statutory power. But what I will say is that if elected treasurer, I am going to do everything I possibly can to maximize opportunities for bringing revenue in appropriately to the county. And that's why, especially taking action, working with the county's corporation council, economic development office, taking action on some of these vacant and outstanding properties, getting them redeveloped. Those are things that could, in a way contribute. Because what happens is that when a property is in tax delinquency, Milwaukee County is covering that bill to the municipality. And so those are, when we're in tight fiscal times, we definitely want to look at all of our options so that we can be bringing revenue in and helping offset some of these problems to the extent we can.
What you manage campaigns? What's the difference between managing a campaign and then being the candidate?
It's a major transition. I will say that. It's been an interesting transition too.
Do you micromanage?
I try not to, but I stay very closely involved with everything because when you've worked on campaigns in the past, you want to make sure yours is being done right. And I have a wonderful team of folks who are working on the campaign and doing really fantastic work, and have had the opportunity as well to have some great volunteers, folks I've in many cases worked with over the years at the county, folks I've met through work in the community who are willing to step forward and help get the word out. And that's been really, really humbling throughout this whole process to get that kind of support.
It was interesting. You had alluded to the pension scandal, is what you call it?
Yes.
I tend to be like the people in Northern Ireland when they talked about their conflict. They said it's the troubles.
The troubles.
The troubles. It's not like this full-scale war. It's just the troubles.
The troubles, exactly. That's a great way of looking at it. Yeah.
I don't know how to, but I think that the other thing is it's real interesting. I want to someone I know that you count as a mentor, Anna Hodges.
Yes, absolutely.
And the thing that you two have done is offices that most people don't even pay attention to.
Yes.
I mean, every year, and God love Brother Barrett, but every year people just vote for him.
Exactly. Right.
No serious challengers.
Yep.
We didn't know the comptroller's office existed. Well, many of us didn't know. What was the troubles? We had troubles with the treasurer's office, right? Was that the treasurer or the comptroller? The guy who had the $1 million, the whole piece. What I'm saying, unless it's a scandal, we don't.
Way in the past. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We don't know. And so you all have brought a certain level of attention to these races that most people just kind of
Exactly. And that's, and yeah, just to give a little context, yeah, I had the privilege to work with Anna Hodges, our current clerk of circuit court, who's done a phenomenal job. She was the chief deputy. She was sort of, I would say, got a pretty raw deal from some of the power brokers down at the courthouse when it came time to appoint an acting or interim clerk of circuit court. And so she went to the community and said, I'm going to run for this position on the basis of my experience and my ability to do the job. And she won resoundingly and has done fantastic work. I mean, I had the privilege of serving as one of her two top subordinates in her office. And I will just say, from having worked with her, she knows that office inside and out, and it is running so much better under her leadership now. And so I'm privileged to have her support, and I'd really like to be able to do some similar work with the treasurer's office, because we can get it back on track, and we can get it working much more effectively than we've seen over the years. I mean, this shouldn't be an office that we only hear about in an election year. It should be an office that, you know, it doesn't need to be out there engaged in self-promotion, but it's an office that folks in our community should know is out there to lend a helping hand, especially in the communities that it serves, where we can really work more to help folks with property tax collection issues.
Yeah, I think if I would have given her a motto, don't get angry, get elected. You know,
and she did. She got elected.
You know,
Yep.
it's one of those things, but the hard work that I saw.
Absolutely.
And I'm seeing when you, because I can't think any place that I'm not seeing you on doors, but I have seen you out in the community and others. So you're there.
We are. We're hitting doors too. So we're all around town these days, and really having some good conversations with voters.
Right. Let's have some more fun.
Absolutely.
Let's have some more fun. All right. I want you, because I do it. I know most people do it. Give me a list of, just off the top of your head, famous Teds.
Famous Teds.
Teds that you share. Teds.
Yeah.
Ted.
Yeah. So Teds, that's all right. There we go. So, well, I know we have Ted Koppel. He was a newscaster. I can think of him off the top of my head. Let's see. We've got, well, I've got to throw this one out there. My namesake is my great grandfather, so I've got to throw him out there. He's not necessarily a famous Ted, but I guess in my life he was. So we had Teddy Roosevelt, of course, who was a president. Let's see. Beyond that, Ted.
Ted Turner?
Ted Turner. That's a good one. Yep.
Teddy Pendergrass.
Yep. Yeah. Exactly. And trying to think, do we have any notable Teds in Milwaukee? Trying to think of that.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Oh, and then of course TED Talk.
TED Talks, exactly. which I've been doing a lot of just now, right? Yeah.
Talk, right? No, just because I'm going like, you know, because Keith is one of those names. It's kind of like,
yeah.
Who I have there? Keith Partridge. That's the Partridge family. That's old. I'm trying to think of, you know, other Keiths that not many.
Yeah.
I haven't talked to my mother about taking that name. If people want to find out more about your campaign, want to help, contribute, give us some information.
Absolutely. So my website is www.tedchisholm.com. My last name is Chisholm. And if you'd like to check us out, we're on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, all across the board on social media. And I'm sure folks will see us around the community as well. So we're going to be very active, as we have been for these next 12 days, and would really be honored by our community's trust to serve as our next Milwaukee County Treasurer.
As always, appreciate you, man.
Thank you so much, Keith. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for being a good sport, man.
Absolutely.
I think when you see Alvin, you go like, hey, what does Theodore look like?
All right. Help Alvin get his property taxes collected here. Yeah.
All right, man. Appreciate you.
All right,
Listening
thank you,
to Community Voice. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back.
All right.
Milwaukee, it's back. It's time to play Let's Make a Deal. Be the eighth caller whenever you hear. For your chance to pick door number 1, door number 2, or door number 3. You'll have a chance to win 2 tickets to Black Arts Fest MKE, or a family 4-pack of tickets to the Wisconsin State Fair, 2 tickets to Harbor Park Jazz Rhythm and Blues Festival featuring Jonathan Butler. How about tickets to the Wisconsin Dells Park, an overnight stay at Red Roof Hotel anywhere in the country, or nothing? So stay tuned and listen for your cue to call. Be the eighth caller, and let's play Let's Make a Deal.
Attention business owners. Do you want to learn how to grow your business and network with other successful entrepreneurs in Wisconsin? Do you want to understand the resources that can truly help you? If you have answered yes to either question, you should consider attending the Business Council's 26th Annual Luncheon on Thursday, August 22nd from 11:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. This event, themed Deeply Rooted, featuring special guest Dr. Mark Lamont Hill, host of BET News. Join us as we discuss how to successfully navigate business growth in today's economic climate while celebrating 26 years of helping ethnically diverse businesses make the connection in Wisconsin. To learn more or to register for the event, visit tbcmkeevents.com. This event is sponsored by our partners at Associated Bank, U.S. Bank, Diamond Disc International, Fusion Integrated Solutions, and of course, the one and only WNOV 860 AM and 106.5 FM. Again, business owners, visit tbcmkeevents.com to register or call 414-287-4108 for more information, as walk-ins cannot be accepted.
When your child has an asthma attack, it's terrifying. You grab the inhaler as fast as you can. My son Khalil, he can't live without his inhaler, but they're expensive. The big drug companies charge families like ours $600 a month. And you know what they actually cost to make? $5. Just $5. That's why Senator Tammy Baldwin launched an investigation to crack down on those companies. And you know what? Tammy Baldwin got 3 of the biggest drug companies to lower the price of inhalers to no more than $35 a month. Tammy Baldwin, that's big savings for my family and for a lot of families. We're breathing a lot easier. There are politicians who do a lot of talking, but Tammy Baldwin, she delivers.
I'm Tammy Baldwin. I'm running for Senate, and I approve this message. I don't work for the drug companies. I work for you. Paid for by Tammy Baldwin for Senate.
It's time for the grooviest event of the summer at the Wisconsin State Fair. You'll be feeling good at the Wisconsin State Fair, presented by U.S. Cellular, August 1st through the 11th.
Yeah, I'm feeling good.
All right, welcome back to Community Voice, and I'm honored to be joined in studio by 2 beautiful women that I respect and admire. Miss Tonda Thompson. How are you, Tonda?
I'm good. How are you?
And of course, Alderwoman Malele Cox. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
All right.
Good, good. Boy, I'm telling you, AKA. I find it's amazing. I just watched, Vice President Harris was at Sigma Gamma Rho last night.
Mhm.
It's always amazing when you go, especially, and I think this is great because the highlight on the Divine Nine
Yeah.
and Black Greek, and so it's just interesting. She's going. I think she also did
Zeta Phi Beta.
Zeta Phi, and then of course, she did AK.
Alpha Kappa Alpha.
Yeah.
Yep.
So anyway, we're here to talk about the Brownsville Cultural and Arts Festival. It starts Saturday, right?
So Brownsville Week 2024, Brownsville's 8 days worth of stuff.
Right?
So we start on Saturday, August the 3rd. The festival is actually on Sunday the 4th. We try not to conflict with Black Arts Festival. We want to support. So we kick off though on Saturday the 3rd with the Harambe 5K run walk, which was founded by Tom Thompson. That's why Tom is here with us today.
And talk about that. I met Tonda back in another capacity in her life, but we were dealing with the whole issue of infant mortality, prematurity, and so your story is the impetus for why we do the Harambe. I'll tell you the story after the break on why I'm doing it that way. So talk about how you came to create this walk run.
Well, in 2013, I lost my son tragically. His name was Terrell, due to injustice in the hospital that he was born in. So I was in a very bad place at that time. I have a cousin by the name of Jermaine Reed that pretty much told me, hey, you need to do something with that energy and figure out what to do to, to challenge yourself and to, basically move your energy in another direction. Later that year, I became connected with Public Allies Milwaukee and United Way and LaShondra Vernon. And I was given a task on how to so I was given a task to create an event for the Harambe neighborhood. And what do you know? I'm from Harambe. My family houses in Harambe. And at the time, Harambe had the second, 53212 had the second highest infant mortality rate in the city. So I'm like, hey, let's do a 5K. So we came up with the 5K. Also, Senator at the time, she was Senator Lena Taylor, had some input in it too. She got me connected to March of Dimes. I didn't really like how March of Dimes were doing their races. I felt like it excluded the Black voices in the community. So I thought it was important to do a 5K within our own community, on our own streets, in our own neighborhood, not at the lakefront, bringing our community together. So that's how I got connected with this lady here that really pushed and made so much happen to where we were able to get connected with Brownsville Week. And this walk run has been operating for 9 years now. Which is amazing. We started in 2014, but the first race did not happen because I thought that we could just get out and walk in the street, and that wasn't the case. So I had to go back to the drawing board, and we came back the next year, actually in 2016, and we've been going strong since then.
This is still a certified 5K.
This is a U.S. track and field certified 5K. So if you were to run this race, you are historically listed as running a 5K in the U.S. track and field history. So basically, you're up there with other people that are competing in the Olympics. Like you are in that history with those folks when you run our 5K.
To the point that actually, when you finish, you're coming through a clock.
Yes.
And they have your time.
They have your time, and it's posted and registered on the U.S. Track and Field website historically. So basically, you're running a historic race, and you're placed historically amongst those numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So if people want to register, can they still register?
Yeah, so it is Saturday. In-person registration starts at 7. But you can go right now to harunbe.com. That's HARUNBEE.com. And you can register online. Registration on the day of gets a little busy, so I highly encourage to register online before the race. But the race starts at 8:30. Usually people get done about 10 o'clock, so you be done about ready for breakfast and for the rest of your day. So it's a quick in and out, but it's a great event. a lot of different family and people. You walk next to your favorite elected official, your favorite doctor, your favorite community member, your favorite baby. Like, there's so many people that you're connected to in this race.
There is he has to probably be now junior or senior in high school. The little kid that's always
trying to win.
Yeah, what's
His name is Q. Yes.
Yes, Q. He got to be in high school now, right?
Q is entering high school. That's actually Megan, the school board.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that's Megan's son, basically.
Okay.
So he's Q has come in first place, second place. It's either him or somebody else. I think one time it was Mandela Barnes that beat him. A few people have beat him since then, but I think last year he came in first place. I think.
Come on, Mandela. Sure. Q's only like 12, man. Come on, man. Show some mercy.
Q usually
Q, but he be because I remember the first year I go and I'm only doing the descriptive because he stands out. I'm going, Tana, who's the little white kid? She go, oh, that's cute. That's cute.
I remember him so well because the first time he ran, he was so upset that he came in second place, and he stormed away. Like, it was, I had to talk to him like, okay, you could come back next year, you could win. And he actually did that. He came back next
which
year
is amazing because it's not like you go in your category. So he's not running with the 18 and unders. Right. No. He's running with adults. And some of these folks are runners.
Oh, you have the Fear MKE people that comes in and they storm it. They come back within like 20 minutes or something like that, you know. But he's competing against those runners.
But real quick, the route this year?
The route is from King Drive, north of King Drive. We go up to Locust, and then we go down to Valete and come back to north of King Drive, where pizza is pretty much.
Yeah, and there is a hill. There is a hill. You coming up the hill.
People always underestimate this route. They think it's just a straight walk. No, you're going up a constant incline the whole time.
Well, thank you. Thank you for that. Where you take your pain and then we get a community benefit from some. So we appreciate that. Appreciate you.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
All right. So we got now we do the official start of Bronzeville week. So give us kind of a rundown of what people can expect next week.
I think next week, of course, we kick off with the walk run, and after the walk run, we have a new addition to the Bronzeville area. Across from the Holocaust Museum is the Dr. Howard Fuller Collegiate Academy, and they're hosting a community barbecue in Bronzeville, right there on Val Phillips between North Avenue and Garfield, and that's open to the public from 11 to 1. And then we have brunch in Bronzeville. You know, after you run, I'm sure you've worked up an appetite. Come down to Bronzeville, and at one of 3 restaurants, you can have brunch from 10 to 1. Mikasa Sue is participating, and Pepper Pot, as well as I think it's called Flame 13, the Old Jules Caribbean, with the new it's a new restaurant. So if you have never been, please come down and check out Bronzeville. Throughout the week, it's everything from historical conversations at the Holocaust Museum. It's a festival on Sunday. That's the big thing, from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. on North Avenue. From King Drive to 7th Street, we got a gospel, jazz, and blues stage. We have a main stage, and we have a kids zone. So we'll bring out the big trucks from the city. We have a talent competition for young people where they can win prizes, monetary prizes, and a whole host of things for kids to do. And usually it's about 100 or more vendors as well. So we encourage people to come out 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. right there on North Avenue between King Drive and 7th Street for the Bronzeville Cultural and Arts Festival. Throughout the weeks, we have comedy and karaoke. We have pancakes and poetry. We have a sleepover for education where you could donate supplies for the upcoming school year. We have a business breakfast. We have paint and sip, and even Kool-Aid and canvas for the kids, and a whole host of other things, even a political discussion too about a seat at the table for art, culture, and commerce. I'm talking about Black women in politics, and we end on Saturday, August 10th, with of course pancakes and poetry at 9:30 at Rise and Grind, the Bronzeville Ride, which is a bike ride through Bronzeville, and then evolve and emerge the Bronzeville Art Walk. So you'll be able to go to different locations along King Drive and meet artists and see their work, and also have an opportunity to purchase their work. And for a full schedule, people can go to milwaukee.gov/Bronzeville. You can also look on the Bronzeville Facebook page as well. So yes, it's full of some of the events are hybrid. So if you can't make it, it might be shown on Facebook, and some are virtual. So you can watch it solely on the Facebook page. And then others, you just got to be there to experience it.
How many years now have we been doing?
This is the 13th year that we've done Bronzeville Week. People know Bronzeville is Milwaukee's African American cultural and entertainment district. It is not a neighborhood, it's an entertainment district. There are some wonderful neighborhoods that help make up the Bronzeville district. You got the Harambe neighborhood, you got Halyard Park, and it abuts Brewers Hill neighborhood. 3 very strong, independent, totally different neighborhoods that encompass the Bronzeville district. A lot of people say, well, why y'all pay so much attention to Bronzeville as opposed to other neighborhoods? It's not a neighborhood. It's a development district, just like Menominee Valley or, other things we've seen throughout the city where there have been years and millions of dollars invested to help to build it up. That is what's happening here in our own way. This was our way of taking something that was negative and flipping it into a positive. Tonda's story is kind of indicative of how so much of this Bronzeville Week stuff came to happen. Some people may know the story, but we were promised a grocery store right there on the corner of King Drive and North Avenue. And then signs for a Dollar Tree went up. And so neighbors were concerned and upset. And I stood with neighbors and stakeholders from the area. And we did what hadn't been done anywhere across the nation. And we were able to get the Dollar Tree to never open. And ultimately, we're able to get Pete's Market to come in to offer the fresh fruits and vegetables that residents wanted. And they've been going strong ever since. But some friends and I got together and really thought about it afterwards. And we're like, man, we can't keep fighting against what we don't want in our neighborhood. We have to, 1, show how great it already is, and 2, show what's possible. And how do we highlight that? How do we show that? And we started out thinking, Bronzeville Day, Bronzeville Days. And then it came out to a whole week, which really is 8 days. But that's how it started 13 years ago, with the lint in our pocket, our own cell phones and networks, and us really bringing people together. And it's just grown and grown to an official city week, to which on our virtual stuff is people from all over the world that view it. Even at the Harambe is, because of COVID, we had to tweak things. It's people from all over the world who run the Harambe. And then even at the events, it's people who come from all over the country to visit it as well. So going from an idea that we did to show that we deserve more than a Dollar Tree. No shade on Dollar Tree, but Bronzeville just wasn't the place for it.
It was a food desert.
Exactly. But that we can get what we deserve, and we can build a nice area and all of those kind of things in an unconventional way. I think Bronzeville is a shining example of like the resilience and creativity of our community, and our ability to turn a negative into a tremendous positive.
Bronzeville was a term used to kind of describe areas where descendants of enslaved Africans would have businesses.
Yeah.
And now, is this the original? Weren't we a little bit further south, right? Down by the old Haymarket, down in that area, Winnebago. Yeah. Okay.
So Bronzeville, that most people recognize, at least went to Walnut.
Mm-hmm.
It depends what historians you start talking to, and then you start talking about Little Africa, and it's a lot. But most people know it at least going to Walnut. In 2005, prior to my tenure, my predecessor, then Alderman Mike McGee Jr., created legislation to create the new Bronzeville. And the parameters of the new Bronzeville are a little smaller than what the historic Bronzeville was. I do have legislation pending to expand the boundaries. We operate like it goes to Walnut. I'm gonna tell you how we operate like it goes from Walnut to Burleigh, from King Drive to the highway. That's how we operate. There are 2 different maps. There's a tax incremental district map, and there's the Bronzeville map that's in the original legislation. Both of those maps are smaller than that. So I've just put in legislation to say exactly how we operate is what the map should actually be. So you will hear soon about legislation extending into Walnut and extending into Pearline. But our goal was to not replicate what was there, but to learn from it and build onto it.
It's interesting you use that term, Little Africa. That one of the things you hear, and this is kind of an aside, but we're in the geek zone right now. I'm trying to think. I think it's Blood on the Harvest Moon. It was in Oklahoma, and they talked about how when indigenous people were on land with oil, they were getting money hand over fist, and people were abusing them to the point they would marry women, slowly poison them in order to inherit either the insurance policy or their oil rights, right? And so they were literally killing people, and they blew up a home. And so these indigenous women were at the movies, and they showed Tulsa, that area in Tulsa. We call it Black Wall Street. They called it Little Africa, which was really interesting, the historical kind of. So when you mentioned Little Africa, now I went to a PWI high school, so we had a corner where all the Black students sat, and it was called Little Ghana, because that's where we were in the cafeteria. So that was fascinating to be able to the historical thing that we kind of understand the history. There is a new building on North Avenue. Is that an art studio?
We just did a press conference there, launching Brownsville yesterday. It is Gallery 507. The BCA, the Brownsville Center for the Arts. Many of you may know the DNR is no longer on King Drive and North Avenue. They've moved, I think, to St. Paul. But the state sold, they put up for RFP the building. And the BCA, the Brownsville folks, they bought the building. And so they're renovating it to turn it into an art center. But they also purchased 507 West North Avenue prior to that. So currently, the work has been done, and it is a gallery and like office space for them as they begin planning the ultimate art center that will be on the corner of King Drive and North Avenue.
Well, and I tell you, every time you come in here, every time we talk, we have the greatest King Drive in the country.
We do.
And when you just look at how, to the point, and you I don't know if you were on the city council then when they renamed, you weren't there when they renamed King, right?
No, that was 84.
So renamed King, but then the downtown businesses wanted to retain Old World's 3rd Street because of the perception and quite frankly, the reality. You visit a city, you say King Drive, you know what that's looking like, King Boulevard, you know what that's looking like, not Milwaukee. And I mean, to the point that's expanding north. We see that during Juneteenth. And now congratulations. I know that was Marlene Johnson's dream, and you kept that. So I appreciate that. I can say with great pride that what King Drive, to the point now the downtown businesses don't have a problem with the King Drive address, right? So kudos.
Thank you.
This is basically free.
Yeah. If you look at the schedule, it'll have dollar signs next to the stuff that actually costs. Stuff like the brunch in Brownsville, you got to pay for your food. But overwhelmingly, the events are free and open to the public. That's the beauty of it being a city event, is that we can allow it to be a free. We really want people just to come experience Brownsville. And Milwaukee also has some of the best creatives and artists in the nation. We really do. And I don't know that we fully understand or appreciate that. So it's also an opportunity to see and hear from and view many of the local artists as well, of all types. So we encourage people to come down. We say Brownsville Week is about art, culture, and commerce, because we also want people to come down and spend their money in Brownsville as well and support.
So it looks like long term, we're looking at the development of, which is historically the old First Star building, and where the DNR is right now. That was the bank, and then DNR went in and they built that. It means a lot now there you still have some areas there that you're working through, but when you look at where we are, so just going forward.
I was telling, I talked to some of the folks over there, and we were talking about how if you look at where Thrive On is, the old Gimbel Schuster, and you look at Howard Fuller School, you look at the Griot and the old 4th Street School or Garfield School, and you look at the Holocaust Museum and all of that, just in that 2-block radius, it's well over $100 million of investment led by predominantly African American developers. And at least with the Thrive On building the Gimbel Schuster, is owned by African. That $100 million development is owned by African American development group. When I said earlier about not trying to replicate but trying to learn from and grow, one of the things I know is that we had so many great, wonderful businesses, Black-owned businesses in Bronzeville of the past. I think one of the things I wanted to make sure as we build Bronzeville anew is that we not only own the businesses, but that we build the buildings that they're in, and that we have more ownership of those buildings as well. I haven't done an empirical study, but I would say this, as I always say about us having the best King Drive. Not only is it the best King Drive just because it is, but if you also look at the level of ownership by Black people today versus what it used to be, and versus what it probably is in most cities, I would say that we're light speed ahead of most other cities as well.
Again, the Bronzeville Cultural Arts Festival starts Sunday, August the 4th, but we do the Harambe walk, 5K walk and run. And that will be on Saturday the 3rd. Again, Tonda, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Alderwoman Cox, thank you.
I just want to say thank you to the sponsors,
Sure.
Bader, Brewers Community Foundation, Historic King Drive Bid, and City of Milwaukee. And thank you for having us today.
Thank you, Frederick.
And one little quick comment, as we go to break. I didn't realize this, and this is something that we don't always understand. I was talking to the woman who does the bid, the downtown bid.
Mm-hmm.
She was talking about some of what you're seeing right now was talked about 30 years ago. What people don't understand is when you start talking about development, that is long term.
Yeah.
You don't, so when it is, you're seeing this, but this is just the first step. I think one of the people I saw was the PAPS development and what that looked like and all the phases. And so that's part of that whole development piece, that it might take some years, but look at what the finished product is.
They say for a development district, it's usually 20 to 25 years
Right.
before you really see it. And if you think that Mike McGee Jr. did the legislation in 2005,
Right.
we're almost at that 20-year mark, and you can see and feel the difference. Yep.
Again, Tonda, thank you.
Thank you.
Alderwoman, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I was going to say the good Lord willing, the creek don't rise. I'm going to sign up for that time yet. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Phone lines are open 414-444-5250, 414-444-5250. Let me just do this publicly. Let me again thank Dr. Richard Shaw for the conversation yesterday. I thought about there were so many things. Once we had finished the conversation and we spoke for 2 hours, I had questions, and so we'll get them back because it just precipitated so much. And look, it is. I remember someone asked me a few years back, what is the goal of this program? And I said, just to get people to think. You may not agree. You don't have to agree. But if you're thinking about it, that's a great step. Debo, the gift that keeps on giving. The gift that keeps on giving.
Is it Donald again?
Oh, you know is Donnie. Now, look, Donnie. So, I was so anticipating what the
debate
interview or the questions at the National Black Journalists Association be down in Chicago. And so, you know, Debo, and I'd always tell Debo, especially, man, that in the year 2019 and 2020, this dude gave us stuff to work on every day. And we was in the middle of a pandemic and a shutdown. So once again, he never disappoints. You know it's coming. So I don't know if you all saw it. I'm sure you have. I mean, every news outlet other than Newsmax. Newsmax didn't show it at all. Newsmax, when they did allude to it, talked about why Kamala Harris wasn't there, right? But this dude said, and if people are talking about taking a cognitive test, this dude really needs to. He was saying that he said that Kamala Harris had identified as Indian until it benefited her politically to then identify as being black. I was sitting at my sister's house. We were going to go someplace, and I'm watching it. And I yelled, damn, dude, she went to Howard. I don't know if you get any blacker than that. I don't. And then not only did she go to Howard,
that's an HBCU, isn't it?
It is the, well, I'm not going to say the HBCU because everybody I know I got a lot of alum out there for different HBCUs.
Right.
But it's Howard. I mean, and then she's Alpha Kappa Alpha. She's an AKA. So you know what they did, and this is where he got it from. And that's, you know, people, this is what I do. I read, you know, follow these things, follow the politics, I read. I also watch the news outlets because the news outlets, let's just kind of be kind, is propaganda. And so depending on where you're going, this is what you're going to get. You're going to get the spin. And so I'm watching Newsmax and I'm going, well, wait a minute. Now, even Fox, because Harris Faulkner, who is a anchor on or personality on Fox, was one of the journalists who was part of that 3-person panel. And for him to question that, so what they did was there's some clips out there. There's a particular clip where Vice President Harris is with another woman of Indian descent, and they're talking about, they're getting ready to do, it's a cooking show, and she's getting ready to do Indian dishes. She grew up with both. She grew up in a home with Jamaican dishes. She grew up in a home with Indian dishes. Her mother acknowledged that she was raising 2 black girls. Why? What? How? What? So then this dude comes out, and then you offend everybody in the room except the 3 or 4 people there who were there supporting him, because there were like 4 people there supporting him. You could hear a splattering of applause, but to see that and watch it in real time, and you go, "Wow, this dude." Now, let me say this. Kathy Hughes, back during the Bush administration, she said, you need to be careful of weapons of mass distraction. Weapons of mass distraction. Donald Trump knew exactly what he was doing. He knew exactly where he was. What he was trying to do is to get Vice President Harris off of her square, right? And so if she's spending her time trying to address the nonsense that he's spewing, then it distracts her from what she should be doing and what she should be talking about. So kudos to her, because when she did then give her speech to Sigma Gamma Rho, she stayed on point. She stayed focused. She did make an illusion, and boy, I would have kind of helped her with that line because I know what she wanted to say, and she substituted the word the same old show. But I would have kind of helped her be able to nuance it so she could say the same old sugar, honey, iced tea. It's an old record, man. And you know what?
Did you hear the clip we played yesterday when she said, "If you want to holler at me,
say it to my
say
face."
it to my face."
But and I know the sister girl in her kind of came out in all of that. Here's the other thing, y'all. Now, there's some people, they just want to fight. They show up for the fight. Let's not get distracted with nonsense. It's obvious. And she shouldn't have to defend who she is. She is who she is. But that's amazing. That's really amazing that she didn't get black until it benefited her. So now the whole joke that's running out, or that people are saying, when did you become black? What precipitated you becoming black, or that you knew that you were black? Interesting question. So I was kind of trying to figure that out. When did it really hit me that I was black? So I'm gonna, I got the Parkman. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, Mr. Parris.
Brother Christopher, good morning.
Yes, sir. Thank you for taking my call.
You're
Assalamu
welcome.
alaikum to you, brothers.
Alaikum
Yes, sir.
salam.
Yes, sir. Why? I'm not calling. I don't even want to be to participate in the mass distraction. So my purpose of calling is concerning what is taking place over in with Lebanon, the Gaza Strip, Israel primarily,
and
how Iran, all of these things that are taking place, which, as the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has been speaking about for some time, even before all of these things started to explode in the manner that they have exploded, that this would take place. And that even though America is would attempt, and I should say it this way, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that a war would break out in Europe, Ukraine, Russia, and then that war would precipitate or be a part of the catalyst of another war, which has broken out in what they call the Middle East with Israel, and that America will be drawn into that war via Israel. And that even though America might want to pull out, she won't be able to pull out because of what the power and the influence that the little state of Israel has, as the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan spoke about a stranglehold, and even Chuck Hagel, a United States Senator, who I think he was censored or shied. He was designated persona non grata for stating, Chuck Hagel, that when he was attempting to become the defense secretary or something like that under Obama, they were so upset with him. He was not confirmed, and he was ran out of town probably for the most part, because he said that he did not represent Israel. He's a United States Senator. And because he stated that fact, the state of Israel, with its influence and power over the Congress and the United States Senators, whereas they kowtow, buck dance, and step and fetch, because these people control this country. And whatever they bid America to do, that is what America does. And then you have people calling and talking about the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and calling him dangerous. And the only danger that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan represents is the wrath of God Allah by warning you and chiding you and telling you what you're doing is wrong. And because he has the testicular fortitude to come before the world, and he has the capability and the capacity to be a man of consequence, things take place. So I'm just a little reverberation, if at all anything. But for to come after him and think that there will be no response is completely and utterly ridiculous.
But there needs to be a measured response. I don't think Iran.
I am not going crazy.
No. I'm talking about Iran's response because it's complicated.
But here's the essence of my call: the war that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said would be shot off. The war of Armageddon has begun. It is not going to end. It's going to broaden. And they have shown signs of this. And again, watch the weather. And I hope I made any sense. Thank you, sir, for taking my call.
All right. Let me just say that the fact that at some point, I think Netanyahu has gone too far. But at this point, as Christopher's talked about, there is not anybody who's going to pull him back at this point. To assassinate the chief negotiator of a peace is purposely is provocative. Interesting thing, what precipitated this and going after the Hezbollah leader and then going after the chief negotiator for Hamas is that it was supposed to be in response to the rocket attack where 12 kids were killed in the Golan Heights. Here's the issue with this. First of all, the UN and other world organizations believe that Israel is illegally occupying the Golan Heights. The Golan Heights should belong to Syria. And so Egypt has been there then. I mean, not Egypt, Israel has been there. The interesting thing was that the children who were killed were not Jewish, right? I think they were Druid Christians that were killed. But there is the whole issue of Israel shouldn't be in the Golan Heights anyway. There was a peace accord they had where they were supposed to go back pre-1967, the 1967 war, where Israel occupied the Sinai, occupied the Golan Heights, parts of southern Lebanon. They're supposed to move out and relinquish control of the Golan Heights. What they have done is put settlements there, right? Which makes it even more difficult now to move because now they have settlements there. So one has to ask the question, why? I think there's a lot of wag the dog. Everybody know the concept of wag the dog. Political people find themselves in trouble, they start a war. But I don't think the world can afford an all-out war with Iran and with Israel. And though Israel will, no doubt, they're militarily superior, it then pulls in other allies, as Christopher was talking about. And so this is a very fraught period. How it's handled going forward. Netanyahu and the people that support him do not want an honorable peace. They want to wipe out Hamas. That's the whole thing. Caller, thank you for your patience. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, my brothers. How y'all doing this morning?
Good morning. How are you?
I can't complain, but I am. How can this man make these judgments? What is wrong with America? When do we start putting idiots as the number one person in office? An idiot. Come on, let's work this out. It's asinine to think that this man don't see that's a black woman. Come on, when did she become black? When did you become white? Because you orange?
Yeah, I mean, if anything, you throw it at her that she is black. Now you saying that she just kind of jumped on and when it was her political benefit. I don't know. I think she go to any place in America, probably any place in the world, and people would think she was of African descent.
Hey, once she put AKA behind her name, she's black.
And you know what? And then
they're not letting no foreigners in.
What is, and I'm moving more away from using the term black. I understand we do it. It's easier to use the term, but we don't even have a clear definition of what black is over and beyond complexion, right?
That's it.
Because when you look at it, black people are diverse people. Now we have common experiences based on complexion, but our life experiences and many times are very different. And so I just wonder sometimes when we get into, we've done it in the past where we revoke people's black cards, which is more of a cultural thing than, because the one thing you can't revoke is skin color. Well, you can try Sammy Sosa, you can try, but it's just one of those things that I don't know. I just America, boy. I mean, the sickness. And as he did it, then I'm sitting up here having this intellectual conversation in my own mind about, well, first of all, I don't like the term using race. We should talk about people's ethnicity and not race, right? This idea, because race is a false construct. It is not biological. It's a construct. Though racism is real. So, okay. Well, it's interesting. You were just bringing up this whole thing about what colored people are in Donald Trump, but that was a disaster. And then did y'all hear the code? Y'all didn't start on time anyway. No,
he didn't say that.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. He said because they were having technical difficulties.
I'm wondering why he picked to come in there anyway.
Because it wasn't for us. It wasn't for us. He was able to show, and it was interesting because someone said, "Oh man, he went into the lion's den." I said, "Yeah, but the lions won." Okay, so he went in the lions, but the lions kicked his ass. So yeah, he was in the lions den, all right. But he didn't have the same results Daniel had. He came out, but he was doing it for his folks. I went and I showed them. Yeah. I stood up, the whole thing. All right, come on, man. Really?
They said he left early.
Yeah, because he was saying they didn't start on time because of technical difficulties. He left early because the heat. And then someone said that they're thinking about what his stamina really is. And maybe this is one of the reasons why he won't debate Kamala Harris. Is one, she gonna wipe the floor with him.
Of course.
But two, I don't think he has the stamina to be able to stand for an hour and a half. So, he kept talking about how old she was, but every time he brings up old now, because on the Democratic side, old has been removed from the equation. So who's the oldest person in the race now? Donald Trump, because he's even going like 81 is not old, right? Because you 78. Yeah. And he said it a couple of times, it's not old. No. And then to hear Republicans, and I'll repeat what I said last week. When did Republicans become so concerned about the due process of voters who do not vote Republican? When were they worried about their franchise? They weren't. As a matter of fact, they did everything they could to make sure that people who might vote Democrat had a more difficult time voting Democrat.
And the question is this. If you look at the whole, when are we going to stop letting all the grandpas run this country? There's too many grandpas running this country.
And that's the whole piece there, and I'm grandpa age, but that is one of those things where, boomers, maybe it's time to literally pass the torch and get out the way. But once you've been there, it's hard to move you out, especially if you work real hard to get there. But let me say this, brother. I was watching a focus group that they did of black men in the state of Georgia. And there's some brothers who, okay, so let me just tell you what happened. So the brother asked the question, the brother moderator asked the question. First of all, he asked, how many of y'all gonna vote? So 97% of the room said they gonna vote. Of course, he had two there who said they wasn't gonna vote. What's your point? All right, got you. All right. So then they're going on and they're asking the question. First of all, they asked the question about Kamala Harris, right? What does she need to do to win black men's vote? So then brother said, basically, she needs to tailor a message to us. Okay. And then you had other brothers who was talking about her career as a prosecutor and a DA. And basically they were saying it was great. I had shout out to Tojo and some of the other brothers I was talking to yesterday over at the WCS event. And he pointed out, you know, he was saying, look, man, I've been to prison. He said that though most people will sit up and tell you they should be in prison or they might not have done it, the vast majority of people should be in prison if they're in prison. There are some who should not be there. They're wrongly convicted. There was another brother who had did time, and he said, yeah. He said, but sometimes it works out like this. You got away with something else, right? And then you didn't actually do this, but this is kind of like your karma for what you got away with, which is fascinating to hear these brothers have this conversation. So then at the end of this group in Atlanta, they're doing individual interviews. And here comes, what do I want to call this dude? Silas. So here he comes. And he said, so, and he was asking about Kamala Harris, but then he go, you know what? If Trump come and talk to us directly, he gonna win some black votes. Now, I don't know how many Negro pleasers came out. What are you talking about? So if he come talk to you, you gonna vote for him, even though he don't care about you, even though the policies he enact are not for your benefit, but the fact that he came and talked to you, you gonna vote for him?
But they did say it was some black slave catchers, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, you know,
so
they needed a job.
You expect that. Yeah, you expect
to work. Of course. But I'm just,
you expect these idiots to shine through everything.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna say, and I said, so when Michelle is wearing some bros out, quite frankly, some of us really need to be worn out. Come on, man. And then he sounded like stepping. Yeah, you come talk. He come talk to us. He could win some. I almost said it. Almost said it. Not gonna say it though. Negro, please.
And tell Michelle when she get her Speed Queen barbecue, don't park on Titonia eating it.
Is that good?
Yeah, no, it ain't good.
Oh, it is good, man. And let me say, they have increased the size of the coleslaw at Speed Queen Barbecue. So they got the message. They got the message. All right, man.
All right.
Appreciate you. If he come talk to me directly, there's gonna be some black men who go vote for him. Stop it, man.
Hey man, can I throw this in right quick?
Yeah. All right. You're listening to Community Voice. We're going to take a quick break. Sound like we're inside the contest. We'll be right back.
Hey y'all, have you heard of Liberate MKE? We're building power for our community for our voices to be heard. We are addressing community issues by redistributing funds from the city budget into public health, housing, libraries, and more. Did you know the Milwaukee Police Department got $300 million last year and public health didn't even get a fraction?
Now you want me to come back when I'm grooving. Is that how we do that? Is that what we doing here? Is that what we doing here? All right. Caller, welcome to the program.
Nah, I'm the winner.
Debo, get the next caller, man. What you mean you the winner? How you gonna be the winner? We ain't even announced anything yet. I'm coming in here, man, just strong arming.
Oh man, come on.
Strong arming the content. Yeah, I'm the winner. Okay.
I'm out here working, keep trying to make a living.
I heard that, man. I heard that. All right, here's what you can win. 2 tickets to the Black Arts Fest MKE. That's this Saturday, August the 3rd. 4 tickets to the Wisconsin State Fair, which starts today. 2 tickets to the Harbor Park Jazz Rhythm and Blues Festival, Saturday, August 17th, featuring Falling in Love with Jesus. Jonathan Butler. Tickets to the Wisconsin Dells Park. Overnight stay at a Red Roof Hotel. They're not hotels, they're motels. A hotel anywhere in the country, or nada, Nathan, nothing.
Oh, man.
All right. So you know what you can win. Door number 1, door number 2, door number 3, or door number 4.
I got 3 grandbabies. They want to go to State Fair, so I'm gonna go with door number 3.
I thought you was gonna take 4. There is no door 4.
No, I got 3 grandboys, so they want to go to State Fair, so I hope it's that. But whatever I get, I'm cool with.
Okay. Well, here's what you want, bruh. You won tickets to the Black Arts Fest MKE this Saturday.
I ain't gonna be able to go to that.
Okay. Can I do this?
You say what?
No, I'm talking to the producer. What should we do?
I know what you're thinking.
Can I?
I appreciate it.
Let me see your doors.
Hold on, no, wait a minute. Hold on, man. We're getting an advisory.
Make the man happy. Make the man happy.
All right, man. You want tickets to the Wisconsin State Fair?
My man.
All right, man.
That's why I love WNOV.
Oh man, I didn't even have to prompt you.
No, you don't have to. Hey, I see Debo in too many of his concerts, and he be doing a great job.
Oh man, I'm giving him a new nickname, Debo the Party Starter. Oh man,
that's too close to Mike the Party Killer.
Mike the Party, no, but you get the party started, man. That man. Have you ever seen Love, Peace, and Soul?
No, I don't think I have.
Yeah, that's Debo's band. I dare you to sit still. You're not going to be able to. All right, man, hang on the line and let Debo get your information.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
Can I get the... Okay, welcome back. Can I get this call or you need to... Okay, get him situated. All right. So, get home and... They were, I guess there's some controversy around the U.S. women's gymnastics team. There's a former member of the team who's throwing shade and hate. And she said they weren't talented and they were lazy. There was back in the day, what's my guy's name? Is it Gene Kelly, the dancer? And he was working with the Nicholas brothers. Gene Kelly's a great dancer. I mean, he's probably under Fred Astaire, white dancers. And so he was very frustrated because the Nicholas brothers only needed one take in rehearsal to get the entire routine down, and he couldn't. And so they just sit there watching them, and he's kind of going like, they're lazy. Nope, they're talented. They don't have to work as hard as you do because they got the talent. And I think it's the same thing. When you look at this U.S. gymnastic team, you know, Miss Lee, Miss Biles, and Miss Childs, they're beasts. And Simone Biles is the GOAT. She is she is the greatest gymnast of all time. And that'd be male or female. What she's been able to do, she's changed the sport to the point that the Russians are complaining because she's adding routines that are so difficult. She's the only person in the world that can do those routines. So we get a chance to watch that. Then I saw something else today. I'm dealing with Caitlin Clark fatigue right now, where people were out and they were talking about how no one is interested in watching the U.S. women's Olympic basketball team play because Caitlin Clark is not playing. Wow. As talented as that team is. Wow. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. America. Caller, welcome to the program.
Is that me, Keith?
That's you.
Hey, Keith. How you doing?
I'm good, John.
Thank you. I love the team, the gymnastics team. I am so touched. This is just my dream come true. I was a gymnastics kid, and It was just these folks are so wonderful. And the British black guy, man, is he cool? I think that was the guy he introduced, like what looked like, if I'm not mistaken, it was the British black guy that did the like break dancing, kind of like a twist kick in the leg, sort of up in the air where he's doing these weird somersault things like a break dancer.
Yeah.
Am I right? Is that the guy?
See, I haven't really been watching the men.
Oh, God, was it incredible. The women are just...
Who watches the men?
God.
John does. Who watches the men?
Because I got to watch these guys. I missed some of it. And they were so happy. Man, these guys were so happy. Yeah,
because they haven't medaled since, 2008?
I'm so proud of these guys.
Right. You would have thought they won the gold, and what did they win? The bronze? But you would have thought they won gold.
I think you're right.
Yeah, but who watches the men? No one really watches men gymnastics.
Powerful. You ever look at those guys?
I know. I'm not arguing how good they are.
I know.
But it doesn't have the same interest which is interesting because it's the same thing with women's figure skating. You watch the
you have to
dudes, but people that really pretty much watching the women.
Yeah, well, I guess, yeah. I'm a gymnast, so I love watching the guys because it's challenging. It is like Kung Fu. And you ever see the Thomas Flair movie, Kurt Thomas, when he did a goofy Kung Fu movie? And he played, it's obviously fake, but his gymnastics is real. But anyway, I wanted to call up and just follow up on a call you and I had some time ago, and we were on a really wonderful roll. But I want to make sure before I ever say anything, I don't use the word terrorism and I don't use the word extremism. I found those words detestable, useless, counterproductive. So if I say something, I'm not referring to the PLO from the point of view of terrorism. I only refer to them for definitions of things like Arab ethnicity, like you have to have an Arab dad.
And I think that they look at it as liberation and resistance. So
what I was saying is how they define ethnicity. That the PLO covenant says you have to have an Arab dad. So what your dad is defines your ethnicity. So that I've looked and looked. There's very few documents of that, except for a few black writers from Africa that talk about it. Well, I think Ali Mazrui might talk about it, but very few people actually document it in such an easily accessible document. So that it defines you have to have an Arab dad. So this gets to where you and I were talking about the Shiites. Remember, I asked you, how would you define the most fundamental distinction criteria for a Shiite patriarch? And you hit right on this. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Remember your answer?
Yes. No, I do remember responding.
Your patriarchy. The patriarch has to be descended from the prophet. So, and you said it. You just weren't thinking right this minute. But that's fine because you said it and you were right on. So that means.
Oh, well, I said who your daddy is determines
if you're
your inheritance.
You can be a Shiite patriarch,
right?
Yeah, whether you can be a Shiite patriarch. You have to have your dad from the prophet's male lineage, the patrimony of the prophet. So this leads me to the next point, and this is why I referred back to the PLO, not to talk about politics, but just to refer how does he define ethnicity as who your daddy is. So now you got two characters here. You got the Shiite patriarch, and then you got the PLO defining it from a pure Arabism point of view. It's that your dad determines your ethnicity. This means that the Shiite patriarchs are not Persians. They're ethnic Arabs by Arab definition. They don't flamboyantly talk about this because it would ruin their whole image. So they never mention Arab. They mention, and when the scholars all over the place say, well, it's Persia versus Arab. No, it is not. It's within Iran. That
So
let
me ask you a question in terms of that. So then what is then the geographic reach of what would be considered Asia? So then are people in that region Lebanese?
Yes, technically. Yes, technically.
They're Asian,
in a
right?
formal sense. Yeah, they call them Southwest Asian.
Okay.
Like a military and State Department stuff, they call it Southwest Asia. They interchange it with Near East and Southwest Asia. And they have Asian games and stuff like that. So all those countries in, sports games and stuff. Yeah, so it's Southwest Asia.
Do you think, though, that now we cannot be as precise when we come to ethnic identification? Because over and beyond, ethnicity, right, that lineage, there are some other things like geography. There are things like culture, and then culture, and I would link culture with religion. And so now people are lining up, Sunnis and Shias are Muslims, but there is ethnic tension between them based more on the religious adherence, right?
The lineage. It's all about the lineage.
But the lineage is also one of those things that identifies the lineage is the religious affiliation.
Yes, the Shiite require the patriarch to be of the prophet's own patrimony, whereas the Sunni, it's about the community electing their own leaders. So Sunni's more flexible on the patriarchs.
Well, that was a divide over who should be the rightful leader of Islam. Am I correct?
The caliphate.
Yeah, I mean, so that divide, but look, that's what people do. When I was yesterday, we were talking about the formation of the church and the Christian church, and then how there was a divide and schism where now where should the church be based? Should it be based in Constantinople or should it be based in Rome? And then so then you had that divide, but you're probably right. There was probably some ethnic things going on. What would be the people? Constantinople is in
Byzantium. It's now Istanbul, Turkey, but it was always Greek until the Turks took over. So it's
Okay.
like the
And the
Eastern
Turks
Rome,
are they European or are they Asian?
They're from east of the Caspian. That's Turkestan. So when you see a country called Turkmenistan, it's just directly east of the Caspian, just north of Persia. So that whole area, Kazakhstan, Uyghur, Turkestan.
So that's Asia. So they're Asian.
Yeah, West. Yeah. So they usually call it Central Asia, but in a more formal sense, it would be Western Central Asia. Whereas Central Interior Asia would be the Uyghur Turks, those ones that the Chinese conquered.
Okay.
And where they're doing that, that brainwashing they call trade school. It looks like dormitory. You see Arabic writing on the streets and Chinese writing.
I think they call that re-education, but okay.
Yes, training camps. Yeah,
I know in Vietnam that's what they were called. You were going to go to a re-education center, and then we're going to purge all Western values out of you. And
Occidental.
You
see they're round, what Chinese call round eyes. They look like what Chinese call round eyes, people that are Occidental. And you can see they don't speak Chinese as their mother tongue. They're Turkic, meaning they're more like Turkey. The Turks came from general Greater Turkestan, which means between north of Tibet, west of Mongolia, south of Siberia, all the way to Kazakhstan, and all the way to the Caspian. So
let me ask you a question then. So is the conflicts that we see,
yes,
how much of that is based on land, and how much of that is based on ethnicity?
That's a really good. You always mention the land, and I'm fascinated by how you bring it up.
I say that because
interesting.
If you invade Iraq, if Iran would have been successful in invading Iraq, in that war in Iraq, they would occupy Iraq, right?
Yes.
And Iran still does have an enormous amount of influence in Iraq because of the Shia. So I'm just wondering, so when we see these conflicts, I believe Gaza is not really about religion or ethnicity as much as it is about land and who can live on the land. I mean, because wars have always been fought over territory, resources.
Right.
You can say, well, we have some theological differences. But then I'm going to go in and take over your land too. So
Sure. I think you're right in that way back, I was talking about genetics way back before 5,000 years ago, there was these two corridors that where they're fighting in Yemen, which is logical, right at that little pinch between the East Horn of Africa and Southwest Arabia, the Red Sea to the Arabian Sea. Then you got the other major one, which is the Levantine Eastern Corridor. See, these are like the two major super highways of the human race outside of Africa. Mm-hmm. So this is like the loop. This is like the Los Angeles cloverleaf.
Right. I mean, Rome could care less about. They're not going to Palestine to vacation. If you were Roman back in the time of, Caesar's, it had everything to do with that land. Make your point real quick, man, because I got another caller. So
So basically, what I was trying to say is that the actual rulers of Iran are ethnic Arab, and of course, the supermajority are native Persian, and the vast majority of nominal Shiites could care less about who's patriarch, and they look at the Shiite patriarchy as Arab. They see this Islamic Republic as an occupation government. There's all kind of websites that are saying, "Go for it, America! Go kick their butt." Israel, kick their butt. We'll suffer through it. It's worse than if we have to live it. And they have whole soccer stadiums where the government says, down with Israel, down America. And you have whole audiences saying, no, down with the Islamic Republic. I see Persians on the web and they're translating as they go and they're breaking out laughing. And there's women, they're freaking out. They can't believe how wrong the West is. This is not a Persian dynasty. It is an Arabist dynasty. They don't use the word Arabism because that's not cool, of course. That would make you look kind of stupid in a Persian country. This is apartheid, and extremely 10%. I don't know the exact percentage. I'm estimating 10% of society, roughly speaking. Genetically, it's about a third the same as Arabia. But I'm estimating the patriarchs, they're called Sayyids. And I traced it back. The guy actually says he's from Lebanon. He speaks perfect Arabic, which is logical. But he traces his ancestry back 44 generations, the Khamenei guy, Ayatollah Khamenei. They have to be in order to be a Shiite patriot. That means they're ethnic Arabs. Not the
so you have a problem.
Minority rule.
Okay, so you have a problem with who's currently ruling Iran.
I say it's a minority regime.
Okay,
it's an extremely
but it was a minority regime in Iraq when Saddam Hussein was there. They were a very small ethnic minority there.
Yes, you're right. That's what I was opposed to that. And by the way, I hate JD Vance. I know you probably wonder why. You know why I hate him? Can you guess why I hate him?
Why you hate him, man?
So far, because he's anti-neocon.
Have you read Hillbilly Elegy?
No,
it's a great book. That's why I'm so disappointed. It's a great book. But things that Hillbilly Elegy. Yep, that's what put him on the map. And fantastic talking about company. Appreciate you, John. Let me get the next caller.
Okay.
Caller, welcome to the program.
Hey, I wanted to ask some questions about, I guess he must have been your previous guest, Ted Chisholm.
Yeah.
I have an interesting perspective on Chisholm. I had a lot of interactions with him during his time as the spokesperson for the county sheriff's office.
It was chief of
during
staff.
that time. Right. Well, he also did a lot of reporting for the sheriff in the meetings. And specifically during a critical time in 2022 when the deaths in the Milwaukee County Jail started. And so my concern about Chisholm, I think he does bring some interesting policy positions to the role. But my concern is that, he actively lied for the Milwaukee County Sheriff during his time as that spokesperson. And I have serious concerns trying to trust someone who collected $100,000 a year from the county just to help cover up deaths in the jail, misspending and mismanagement of department funds. The Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office spends an awful lot of money every single year and provides no detail into how that money's spent. And kind of being the point man for that is concerning when you go to run for another office, I think.
That's fair. Hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
No, that's
Sorry.
fair. That's fair. I mean, if when we run for office, people's experience with us has impact on whether or not they will or will not support us. And so if that has been your experience, I understand your concerns.
Yeah, and I wish that, I don't know, I tuned in too late, and I wish I could have caught him and to ask him about this specifically, because it just is a really big concern. And, nothing, I don't think anything, well, very few things should keep people from permanently, gaining an office if they have the right plans and if they've made the right moves. But this is something that just really hasn't been discussed, and I think it's a big concern when you talk about having these big progressive values and yet you helped. I mean, people died during his time in that role, and in meetings that department deflected any attempts to answer questions or be asked questions. And he played a pretty critical role in that.
Okay. All right, man. Appreciate you.
Appreciate your time. Have a good one.
Yep.
Bye.
Okay. 414-444-5250. Phone lines are open as we kind of come to the close of this program, making it happen. There you go. There you go. All right. Wow, that's interesting. And then someone did text me. They did text me, and they were talking about the lineage and his patriot. But I thought what made you Jewish was your mother. That's interesting. Okay. Caller, welcome to the program. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm calling. I'm blessed above measure, and I say that in all honesty. I wanted just to call a few days ago. I was listening to your radio show, and you had a director by the name of Mary from Life Nation.
Navigators. Yeah.
Yes. I'm calling to say thank you. By listening to your show, listening to her has put me in a connection with their agency to help me with resources for my son that has intellectual disability, and he's 25 years old.
Okay.
So I just want to call to say thank you.
All right.
That's it.
And we'll let her know that was Mary Till with Life Navigators. Well, certainly that's what they want. That's what they want to hear. So appreciate you, and good luck with that.
I appreciate that as well.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Mm-hmm. Caller, welcome to the program.
Ooh, it's scary that we have a bunch of people out here don't know where they're going, don't know what they want to be, don't know what they're going to do, and they 14 to 18. What is our problem? Why are we not teaching these people to be better people? What happened to giving whoopings to kids when they act up?
What happened to giving whoopings to kids?
When they act up. Because when I act up, I got a whooping. It stopped me from acting up.
We're kind of revisiting conversations we've had in the past. There are some who deal with child development who say that whoopings may or may not be effective.
So we don't see what kind of money we can get up out of.
Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got somebody talking in the background. That's why I'm.
Oh yeah, no, he was asking me a question because I was wondering why we just can't get along. Why do
you know
people
what? People
how
have
can
been
you be
getting along
president?
since there've been people.
Right. How can you make judgments on people and you did idiot stuff and you're a felon 34 times and you call somebody stupid?
Always
Somebody
love
with
when she mentions his felony convictions and people at her rallies will start shouting, "Lock him up! Lock him up! Lock him up!" So yeah, you're that, and you know what is interesting because I think the young lady's name is Sonia Massey, who was killed in Missouri by the former sheriff's deputy, and when they asked him that question, they asked him a question about would he pardon the January 6th rioters, and he said, of course he would. He said if they haven't done anything wrong, and the young lady from ABC said, well, they all were convicted, and then he was trying to allude to, oh well, that's just the system that we live in, and and because he really feels like he has been abused by the criminal justice system. Now it's not that he didn't do it; it's just the idea that he's going to be held accountable for it that he's troubled by.
Of course. I'm Donald Trump. I own one of the third tallest building in the world. I guess he's trying to say.
Yeah, until he has to pay that judgment, and he's going to have to liquidate that building to satisfy the judgment for the state of New York. So,
well, he's the only person I know had a casino and they ain't make no money.
He's the dude that killed the USFL.
Yeah.
I mean, this dude has a track record. So when people talk about he's a businessman, he's an awful businessman. He
didn't sell himself though. He made the money.
Yeah, he's a
he got
grifter.
the money. The man got money hid somewhere.
Okay, well, good for him. To see what happens when they put money on his books.
Yeah, who's gonna put money on his book? His kids gonna abandon him too once it's over with.
See what those books are looking like. And I don't know if New York State has the same laws as Wisconsin, but depending on your debt, they go right in and take money off your books. So if you sit there looking at a child support, they could go in and do a seizure. If you're looking at restitution, they could go in and do a seizure, any kind of judgment. So, I mean, he got the judgment. Now, and it was interesting because someone had to remind me why Donald Trump is even running for president. Donald Trump is running for president so he won't go to jail. This is why he's running. Donald Trump could care less about America. He care less about the future of America. What he's concerned with is his own behind and whether or not he's going to be incarcerated. That's the real reason why he got in the race in the first place.
Yeah, because he said he don't know how to braid hair.
Yeah, well, you know what? And some people are better built for prison than others. He is certainly not built for prison at this point in his life.
Oh, yeah, they're gonna have him in a happy room, that's all.
Not that I think that they would even give him jail time, just logistically how difficult that would be. But I can
Thank
tell
you
you,
very
when
much.
we were in Panama, and we saw the president of Panama leave jail to go to work at the presidential palace. So,
Scary, ain't it?
yeah, that's the world we live in, man.
Yeah. We all got to accept it too.
Yep. All
Now,
right.
people, get out and vote because he cannot win.
Yep.
So vote. Get up, get out, and vote.
Yeah, Miss Sonia Massey. And then he said that the police officer should have gotten qualified immunity. This dude, and this wasn't even one of those.
Yeah, he killed. Whenever you kill somebody black, you get a pass, and
Right.
it's starting to be asinine.
Well, I think that this was so egregious. This is, and it's documented that, normally, that's so-called back to blue. But even his police chief was saying that no, that this is wrong. So we'll see. He's sitting in jail right now without bail. And I think they've charged him with first-degree murder.
Because that was a first-degree murder. Anybody could see that film.
Yeah, I mean that, and people will tell you, like right now, and Devontae Mitchell, and certainly shout out his name for justice. And let me do this. In Africa, I got it because I'll forget. In Africa, they said that when you transition to the next life, how people remember you is how they speak your name. And I had a situation yesterday where I was over at this event, and he said, "Oh, this is Keith Parris from WNOV." Oh, so what? And then this brother said, "Oh yeah, man. Were you there with Ernie G?" And I said, it's interesting. I started maybe a year and a half before Ernie passed. But the great reverence that people have in this community for Ernie G. And so anytime we get to say his name, Ernie G, Ernie G, Ernie G. That's how we honor those folks who've made their transition. That's how we honor our ancestors. And don't be listening to Europeans who sit up and tell you that you worship your ancestors. You don't worship your ancestors. What you do is you recognize your ancestors. You recognize the importance that your ancestor has, the impact they had on this life. And because of that, we then say their name from time to time to time. So Ernie G, man, thank you, dude. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. What else you got, man? That's it. All right. Well, show me what you got. What up, Jay?
Hey, Jack.
What's happening?
Hey, man, I can't call it, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna forward an article, George. I saw you listening. I'm gonna forward an article to you. That thing that you brought up yesterday, and kind of how we got to the point where we're using these different pronouns to refer to. In this instance, this article I'm gonna send you is on the Holy Spirit and why the Holy Spirit, but why it's referred to in the masculine tense. But when you have to look at the translation, it's actually either in the feminine tense or a neutral tense. So I'll send that out. I got time for this call, or do I need to scram? All right. I'm just as through. Let me thank Ted Chisholm. Let me thank Alderwoman Malele Coggs. Let me thank Miss Tonda Thompson. Debo, thank you. Carby, thank you. Hey, Carby, did you get whoopings when you were little? Bad one. Did it change your life? Did it change your life? Oh, it changed your life. Got you on the straight level? Oh, man. Wow. You know what? If my mother ever had to discipline me in church, y'all not going to see me next Sunday. I'm not back next Sunday because I'm dead, right? Embarrass my mama in church. Oh, you ain't see me? Didn't you have another son? Yeah, Keith ain't with us anymore. He ain't with us. We take his name off the road. As a matter of fact, we planning his home going right now. I wish I would embarrass my mama in church. Let me thank everybody. Good Lord willing, creek don't rise. Hope to talk to everybody tomorrow. And as always, go for this place of peace.